It is iHeartRadio. It is AMFM247.com. We are going to go to the old Skype-a-rooney. Yes, the old Skip Skype, the old Skype-a-rooney. We got to make a call, as they say. I got to make the call. Who are we calling? We're going to call our guest. I love that. Who are we calling? We're calling our guest. We're actually going to call our guest. We had a guy we called earlier. We messed up one number. We called some other random guy. But we are not calling a random guy. We're going to get our guest in here. We got to get the audio going. Hopefully that works. There we are. Can you hear me?
Hello.
Hello. How are you? It's James giving you a call for your radio interview. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing well. How about you?
Pretty good, actually. We have got a great guest with us today. She is going to join us live here in just a few seconds, but we've got to get all of our little house cleaning and everything out of the way. Thanks for joining us here on the world famous Jiggy Jaguar radio broadcast. We are live coast to coast and border to border on iHeartRadio. Also, AMFM247.com. Tune in. iTunes. Of course, you can also find us at 50-plus AM/FM stations across the country and around the world. iHeartRadio as well, and you can also find us on Spotify. We have got a great guest going to join us here in just a few moments. But before we do that, we have got to get our other two panelists on with us, and hopefully... There and there they are, IQ Al Rizzoli and the fabulous Don Mazzella. How are you, sir?
Well, I'm certainly on.
Now, we have a great guest joining us today here on Skype audio. She is an interesting individual. We had her on a few years ago, but we wanted to have her back today. She is with the Remembrance Project, and go ahead and give us a update on what the Remembrance Project is. Give us a full introduction here, Maria.
Absolutely, James, and thank you for having me on. Yeah, the Remembrance Project was started over 10 years ago here in Houston, Texas, and that is we are a voice for the victims who were killed by illegal aliens after seeing officers here in Houston being killed by people who shouldn't be here in the first place. We discovered the sanctuary city policies. We had no idea that there even existed such unlawful policies. And I think I could probably ask your listeners, 10 years ago, how many people heard about sanctuary jurisdictions? And like every event that I attend, no one had heard of sanctuary city policies until after really Donald Trump ran for office. And it was really came out then when after the killing of Kate Steinle, which we all thought at that time that we would remove sanctuary policies. So we want to draw attention, James, to the fact that so many Americans, tens of thousands of Americans, would still be here living their American dream with their families, graduating, getting married, in our workforce, if that illegal alien was not in our country, which means and points right back to our legislators. If our laws were enforced, these are current laws that I'm talking about, James, and our Constitution followed, and we would be safer, we would be safe to run our businesses, our communities would be safer, and our families would be safe to thrive. So basically, we are here to highlight and shine a light on the thousands of lives that should still be here. We do that by our Stolen Lives Quilt banners. And during the 2015-2016 campaign for Donald Trump, he invited us up on stage, which was fantastic. He was the only candidate who listened, and he was my keynote speaker in September of 2016 right here in Houston, Texas. And by the way, you might know this name, Chris Kovac. He was my MC at this event, and those were the only two speakers. So in a nutshell, probably gave you a little bit more there. That is what the Remembrance Project is about, a voice for those who no longer have a voice, for the victims that our politicians seem to ignore.
Well, let's start with Don Mazzella. Don, do you have any questions for Maria?
Well, I've got a lot of questions, but first, I should tell you I am the son of an illegal alien. Um, I always have mixed emotions about that. And two, I've always, according to the statistics that I've seen, most killings involving illegal aliens involve other illegal aliens within their community. Um, and as you know, most murders occur intergroups. Uh, do you also include into your organization Remembrance those people within the alien community that were victims of other illegal aliens?
And James, I can't hear him very well. His son is an illegal alien.
No. Don, go ahead and repeat, my friend. Go ahead and jump back in there.
Yeah, can you hear me better now?
Can you hear Don a little bit better now, Maria?
I can, but go ahead.
Okay.
Well, no. My basic question is, most of the murders that occur are intra-community. One group, one person, another from the same ethnic group. Does your remembrance events include the aliens who are also the victims? It's not only Americans, but the other people within their community that have been murdered.
Well, number one, we are an American organization, and we have laws, and we are shining a light on the fact that right here, under our own noses and on our own soil, Americans are being killed by people who shouldn't be here in the first place. My father came here the right way, as millions of citizens have and millions of legal residents have. So if we don't point back to our laws and our Constitution, you can see what's happening right now in some of these major cities where there's rioting and burning and murdering. And that's what you're going to have if we do not enforce our existing laws, because ignoring any law fundamentally undermines the fact that people will ignore our laws, and that's what's taking place right now. So if someone else wants to memorialize illegal aliens there in Mexico or wherever, then that's fine. That's not what we do. You know, and in my opinion, illegal aliens do not have a seat at the negotiating table. My father had a seat at the negotiating table because he came here the right way. And like I mentioned, millions have done so. If we can't even have the very basic here of laws for our citizens, then we're a banana republic. They're making up laws as they go. And if our legislators and our law enforcement do not enforce laws upon illegal aliens, but enforce laws upon citizens, what is that? No one wants to live in that type of a country.
I couldn't agree with you more, but people come here essentially, as they have for centuries, for seeking a better life, and most of them are by and large law-abiding.
Yes, no. Those are talking points. Let me stop you right there, sir. Let me tell you this, that every single illegal alien that crosses our southern border has to deal with the cartels. Our southern border, and I have been on night watches along the southern border right here in Texas. The cartels own the entire southern border. So anyone who's dealing with a organized crime cartel, in my opinion, is of questionable, at best, character. And that's why we're bringing in this MS-13 gang members and sitting them right next to our children in schools. That's why these drugs are so rampant in our schools and our communities. Never before have we had an opioid crisis like we have going on now with all the fentanyl. And now the human trafficking is huge. And the child molestation, go look at the NC Fire website. Illegal alien demographic is the reason why so many children are being trafficked and molested. So if we remove that element out of our society, then we just deal with the crime that Americans deal with. We have enough crime that Americans commit alone. Why are we importing crime and telling the rest of the world that it's okay? America's not going to secure its border. It's okay to go in illegally, and you get a job, you get benefits, you get health care, you get free education. My goodness, Texas even gives in-state tuition to illegal aliens. But if my daughter went up to Georgia and went to school, college, she would have to pay out-of-state tuition. That's unconstitutional, and that's unfair to the Americans, millions of Americans who pay into the system. It's a long answer, but there is so much. Those talking points simply don't work anymore with people. We're such a generous and kind population. America is the most generous country in the world. We go and help other countries when they're in trouble. But yet, we're having to back off of our laws that help make the civil society and for us to prosper. No, absolutely not. I'm not going to lose my country and the civility and all that we work for so that 690,000 or so illegal aliens who are not even children, they're up to 40 years old with this DACA issue, can remain here when they're 40 years old and they don't know how to get right with our laws. That's inexcusable.
IQ Al Rizzoli, you sitting here listening to all this. What do you have to say to Maria?
I agree with Maria 100%. 100%. I'll tell you why. As you know, I have applied for a green card. I spent about $7,000 so far and $3,000 more to come, and over a year. I'll get it, but I'm coming legally. I'm coming legally. Of course, I could have gone through the border, paid the cartel. I could. But then I will have no future. Illegal aliens, by definition, are illegal. Don Mazzella keep remembering about his father. His father must have arrived in the United States in the 1920s or something maybe. These were different times. The illegal aliens of today, many of them are criminals. I'm not generalizing, I'm telling you. And a lot of Muslims are crossing the border to infiltrate America. These are facts, not fiction. The word illegal means illegal. And I cannot understand why any human being in America or any American says you have to be generous. No, I don't have to be generous. Hundreds of thousands of people around the world, in fact millions around the world, are coming to the United States of America legally, and it takes them 5 years. I have no excuse, I have no sympathy with illegals. That's simple. Back to you.
Well, IQ, I couldn't agree with you more. I'm not condoning it. I'm simply saying that if someone makes the long journey from Honduras or wherever to come to this country, and the key word to me is willing to work and do many of the jobs that Americans seem to have now turned their nose up at. I see absolutely no reason to lump them together with the criminals that Maria is talking about. I couldn't agree with you more. But if you go to a jail, and you now have liberals in New Jersey who say if you discover a criminal and we discover that he's illegal, the police department should not turn them over to immigration.
No.
I mean, that is
No.
absolutely
What's his
asinine.
name?
That is
Yes.
asinine.
No. So when do you think that you're going to find out if these are this people who are crossing illegally? There's a reason why they're not going through the system. They probably won't be able to qualify because they're probably wanted in their country. And then you want them to deal with the cartels. And then after they kill an American, then we put them in jail and send them back. And after they're in jail for 10, 18, whatever years, and with the American taxpayer left holding the bag. No, and I don't like the narrative, James, and I don't know what the gentleman's name is, but I worked in the strawberry fields. I worked in bulbs, in the dirt with my hands on the Mexican crew, not on the crew with my fellow students and classmates. You know, I hate when people say that those are jobs that Americans won't do. No, if they want to eat, they will do it. And that's a narrative, just like what the left has said, just like they're taking the jobs that people won't do. They're just like us. They're Christian families. Well, you know, you have gang members who carry the rosary beads on their belt loops, and I'm sure you guys have seen it. This is about enforcing the laws. If you want equality in this country, then certainly dish out the enforcement of laws equally, not a pass to illegal aliens. My dad worked hard. He was a lumber mill worker. He had an opportunity to open a restaurant, and he knew nothing about restaurant business. He opened that restaurant and another and another. We worked hard, just like many of my fellow Americans have, and I don't like to be lumped in to that whole idea or painted with the broad brushes if I'm one of those people who don't want to work. That's not true. That needs to be dropped. Go to the baseline, which is we don't have to allow anyone into our country. We have laws, follow the laws. If you can't follow them, then you don't want to be here bad enough.
I'm sorry. If there were enough people that wanted these jobs, by the way, Marie, let's make it clear. I'm not arguing with you. Your premise, I believe, is correct. We should be enforcing the laws. But lumping all of the people that come illegally as criminals is to me just not so. Most people that I've seen come here because it is the land of opportunity, which we seem to have, these trite words that mean so much. Land of opportunity. A place
That's
where
all great. They came in through Ellis Island, and if you believe your own words, how many illegal aliens have you opened your home to?
I can tell you, ma'am, an awful lot, because my father and my uncle were notorious for that. I could talk for an hour about stories about that. All illegal, and all these young men, young women that we opened our hearts and our home to became productive citizens in this country. One son became senior official of the FBI. I mean,
that's all fine. That's all fine. But I'm asking you, how do you feel, opening up your home then to people who cross here illegally and breaking our laws? So you're part of the problem. This is ridiculous. I mean, if you get pulled over for speeding or whatnot, you pay that ticket. Otherwise, you suffer the consequences. You either want laws, a lawful nation, or no laws and a lawless nation and chaos and mayhem. What's going on there? And now look at across the country for people who have that same type of mindset or thinking, oh, there are some okay. No, we don't know how to decipher if this illegal alien crossing is a bad one or not. I can't tell. But why would you want to endanger the rest of us for your type of leftist, liberal, whatever you want to call it, unlawful views? So if you're
But,
for breaking laws, then maybe we should be
believe me,
looking a
man,
little bit more closer.
I am not. I'm simply trying to uh, give it a different perspective. Let me just explain. Just this afternoon, I'm here in Jacksonville, and what happened? Two cars, one car hit the other. Car stopped suddenly, car hit it. Well, you knew immediately it was an illegal alien because the second car, which caused the accident, backed up, cut through 3 lanes of traffic, and sped away because they knew. I'm agreeing with you, Marie. I'm just saying, not all aliens are criminals, and not all criminals are aliens. And
So you are for, though, this double standard of laws. It's okay to enforce laws upon American citizens, but not illegal aliens. Look, we've got 41 million unemployed Americans who need jobs. I beg to differ on that. We need these illegal aliens for jobs that Americans won't do.
I'm so, let's talk about that for a moment. Every day I can go down here in Jacksonville, and there's signs out there say "Help Wanted." Okay, and what I see on the same street 4 or 5 encampments of people.
So I go back to the same thing. I mean, you're not.
But they're not aliens.
Do you want
they
laws?
they are Americans who who won't go walk into that store and say, "Give me a job. I will take," because they much rather be on the street than take that job. I'm never be called a liberal, but I'm simply saying. There is a difference. And what you're doing, by the way, let me say.
I just said your liberal views. I didn't call you a liberal. I just said your leftist or liberal views. But, you can't justify that. Either we have our laws or we don't. And that's what my point is here. And it doesn't matter to me how many illegal aliens who you think are good people. You're not with them 24/7. But if you are for skirting our laws, then we've got a big problem. If you are for ignoring our Constitution, if you are for these politicians to ignore their own people, their own voters, by taking money from these open border groups like home builder groups that we have here in Houston that we're dealing with, so that they can increase their profit margin by using an illegal alien workforce over an American workforce. And I have a good friend whose father built their home when they were young from the ground up with all Black American workers. And to this day, they cannot find one Black American carpenter or plumber that could come in and fix something in their home because they've been pushed out by illegal aliens by being undercut. Their companies are being undercut by people who hire illegal aliens, and that is wrong.
No, ma'am. That black plumber was pushed out because the last 2 generations of blacks have not been educated. They've been plantation-wise by big city school teachers, school groups who don't teach but just pass them along. It's an interesting statistic. And by the way, there were more black families settled in 1960, proportionally in 1960 than there are today, because we, the politicians, have so perverted this welfare system in America that we don't give them the education they need. And as a result, someone will come in, an alien, who learned in Guatemala how to put two boards together and can do the job where that black person can't.
Well, Well, no, I argue that point with you. There's no way they can do the job. It's just that the companies have been undercut by other companies who use the illegal alien workforce. I mean, an American family cannot compete with 10 grown men sharing a one-bedroom apartment. Their standard of living is much lower than the American man who is trying to feed his family. So I'm not going to get into that, but I'm telling you, this is what I know from one of my personal friends. And if we don't stop and think about what we're doing and get good people in office, like Chris Kobach, by the way, who is very much in tune with the community and our Constitution. In fact, he has helped draw up the lawsuit that Texas right now is going through on the anti-sanctuary city bill. So your listeners out there, James, please go and vote. I personally would endorse Chris. I know him personally for several years. And those are the type of people who will not budge on that very basic that America needs. This is the very basic. We are not asking for anything special. We're not asking for a pass on our laws. What we're asking is the very basic that our government is due us, and that is in our Constitution, and you can see them in our laws, but unfortunately we have politicians and activist judges who ignore it for a little money in their re-election campaign coffers, all the while our American children are filling coffins, and that has to stop.
Well, Maria, I appreciate you being with us. We've just run out of time in your segment here, but I appreciate you being on with us today. Thanks for coming on and chatting with us.
Of course, James, and I'm sorry I didn't get the names of the other guests, so thank them as well. And, God bless you. Keep praying. And, again, Chris Kobach is a great guy, family guy, and I think that we need more Chris Kobachs in office, and we wouldn't be in this situation, actually.
Well, thank you, Maria. I appreciate it.
Gracias. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. There she goes, Maria Espinoza. And quite the fired up Maria Espinoza today. IQ, what did you make of all that, sir? IQ El Rizzoli, what did you make of all that? I don't know if IQ can hear me. IQ, can you hear me, my friend? I don't know. I lost IQ, I guess. Or there he is, no, IQ.
We couldn't hear you.
IQ, what did you make of all that?
No, she's right, for God's sake. Why do you think everybody wants to come to America? Nobody wants to go to China. Nobody wants to go to Saudi Arabia. Nobody wants to go to Yemen. They want to come to America. Okay, you want to come to America? Come legally. I'm doing it legally.
IQ, I'll adopt you. How's that? And we'll get you in that way.
Listen, I'm coming only for one purpose. To start havoc in the United States of America. I'll tell you. I'm watching the United States of America disintegrate in front of my eyes. Literally, you're disintegrating. I'll tell you why you're disintegrating. 8 years of Obama have fragmented the United States of America into whites, blacks, Hispanics, Asians, Jews, Christians. He destroyed you in 8 years. He caused you more destruction than 70 years of the Soviet Union. And nobody wakes up. This is the result. How is it conceivable that less than 13% of the human population in America, blacks, and not all of them are with Black Lives Matter. So it's less than 13%. 700,000 people in 70 cities have completely overturned the United States of America's Constitution. 700,000, the people who demonstrated.
Yes.
And you allowed them. Not
yes.
You. I mean, your leaders allowed them. Why? Because they're Democrats. They're liberal. It's all right. They asked Pelosi to make a comment about the destruction. She said, well, people have to do what they have to do. Really? I hope somebody would put a gun to her head and shoot her. And then somebody would say, yes, he had to do what he had to do. Come on. I'm watching you disintegrate. And I hate it. I hate it. And I'm not even an American.
IQ, this last 2 weeks has demonstrated how spineless our political leaders have become. It is really, I cannot sit here and not express strongly enough how absolutely disgusted I am with our political leaders, both Republicans and Democrats. The president of Goya Foods, when they attacked him, he said for praising President Trump, and he said, I don't back down. I mean, this is the first time somebody has said to these people, go to hell. I admire the man for it. Went out and bought a can of Goya beans just to support him. We're in real trouble, IQ, and I welcome you coming here because we need all the help we can get.
I promise you, I will start, God willing, but I need your help, not you only. When I come, I'm not doing it for myself, by the way.
I'll just tell you.
It's a one-way ticket. Honestly, it's a one-way ticket. I'm going to start a trouble in public.
I'm going to start trouble.
And I don't know who is going to support me to do it. Not yet, anyway, until I come. We'll see. But what's happening, the destruction of American history proves that the intention of these people is to destroy America. Black Lives Matter has nothing to do with blacks. It's an organized crime syndicate pretending to be a social movement.
Yes.
It's pure hatred. By the way, they are completely supported by the Muslim Brotherhood, by Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, all the Muslim leaders in the United States of America support them. Why? Because they hate Christians. They hate the American Constitution. They hate Jews, and they hate anybody who's not a black person. And you're telling me they're not racist? And they speak about racism? I'll tell you what, James, get somebody from Black Lives Matter.
Well, I've been
60 seconds.
I have been trying to do that, but I've also been getting deluged with emails from the care folks, and I have been sending them. I always reply back, "Hey, let's have you on the radio show." And I've yet to hear anything back, but I'm trying, baby. I'm trying.
James, I sent you several times articles. Are you publishing them or not?
Yes, they're on the website. They go up every time you send them, my friend.
Fantastic.
Well, Don.
I need exposure. As I said many times, give me 10 minutes with Hannity, I change history.
Well,
10
Don.
minutes. I swear to you, that's all I need. 10 minutes with Hannity, I change history.
What did you make of the fact that she kept? I don't know if she didn't understand what you were trying to get across, or it was like she really wanted to argue with Don.
Don understands the illegality, but he has sympathy because his parents came illegal.
Yes.
But your parents' time were different, I promise you. What you are getting now from those illegals are literally criminals. There's no question about it.
I'm
It's
sorry.
for all. I'm not saying all of them. Don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying all of them. But I'm not going to worry about 10% and 20%, 30% when 70% are not good people. Sorry, I will not accept it.
I don't think that level is as high as you want it. But let me just give you a number. The U.S. Post Office reporting the reparation of monies to Latin American companies has dried up by between 40 and 60% during this pandemic, because these people who've come here to work and send the money home to their families.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with what she said, and I don't disagree with you, IQ. I just think that you can, there are people here who come because it is the land of opportunity. You know, I'm sitting here with three degrees. My father had a third grade education. I mean, the story is repeated throughout our history. You know, and because this country has always said, come and if you work, you may not be rewarded, but your children will be rewarded. And time after time, that's what has come about. You know, I mentioned in the class, I don't know if Horatio hit.
Oh, yeah.
Horatio, I had a senior moment. Alger, that was it. Horatio Alger, which was a story of a boy, an orphan boy who became successful. Our America has always been given, if you work hard, good things will happen. Does it happen all the time? No. Do we have the Appalachian? Do we have other places? Of course. Well, but we also had people in building into a middle class that was second to none. Is it still there today? The economists argue it's not. The economists say that the ability to own a home has gone away. But it's like everything else. Remember when they said all the oil in the world had been discovered and we faced not having oil in the year 2000? Now we're still awash with it, and every day we find more. You know, opportunity is out there. But don't turn your back on the rest of the world because some bad eggs showed up, and including IQ. So, I'm not going to say IQ. I'm more than happy to adopt you so you can come in as my son.
I'll tell you something. I am a strict believer in law and order. Strict. I mean it. I hate it when when the police abuse their power.
Yeah.
But I hate it even more when our leaders undermine the Constitution. Our leaders are corrupt. This is infinitely worse than all the number of black Americans killed by police. By the way, the number of Americans killed by police, black Americans, is overshadowed by one weekend in Michigan. By one weekend in Michigan covers all the number of blacks killed by white police officers. And nobody says anything.
Yes.
Okay? So, Black Lives Matter, as I was saying, this movement is nihilistic. They are corrupt, and they should have been stopped from the first day. From the first day. By the way, in England, in London, they erected a Black Lives Matter statue. Within 24 hours, it was removed by the government. When you do that, nobody dares break the law again. Nobody.
Yeah.
If they shot two of them, even if they didn't kill them, if they shot two of them who were demonstrating or taking a statue down, two, nothing would have happened. But they let them. Who did that? The liberals. The ones who say, okay, open border. Why open borders? Why do you have doors in your home? Why do you have gates? Open your doors and gates. Let them come in. But nobody's doing that. Open borders? Sorry, I don't agree. I don't agree, honestly. I don't agree because I've seen it all over the world. Everybody comes to the West. But the West is Christian. Because the West Christian is benevolent. They don't go to a Muslim country. Nobody goes to a Muslim country. Nobody tries to escape from Africa to go to a Muslim or Arab country. Nobody. They will be enslaved in a few minutes. But it's illegal. I sympathize that they want to have a better life. Okay. You want to have a better life? Don't come illegally. I don't give a damn. I'm sorry. If some group of people are being persecuted, look what's happening now today. The most persecuted people on the planet today are Christians.
Yes.
And nobody says anything about it, not even the Pope. His flock is being destroyed in the Middle East, and he keeps his bloody mouth shut. Okay? I said bloody mouth because I'm talking about a human being, not something supernatural. Under his watch, Pope Francis, the greatest number of Christians have been destroyed, murdered, executed, and exiled in the 21st century. And he is silent. And by the way, he's not the only one. All the European and American Christian churches are silent. Try to explain it to me, please. Now, I want somebody who has the backbone and the knowledge to explain it to me. How is that possible? You have Erdogan. He wants to bring back or to turn again the Hagia Sophia into a mosque.
Yes.
The only reason he's doing it is a slap on Christianity. That's the only reason he's doing it. He doesn't need it. Kemal Ataturk, when he took over the republic or created the republic, he said, no, this is going to be a museum. But this bastard, he wants to start the caliphate. And nobody does anything. No, am I ranting? No, I'm not ranting. I'm trying to explain something to you. What is happening in America, your leaders are destroying the nation. And I'm not talking about Donald Trump. The only patriot on the top of the pyramid is Donald Trump. There's nobody else. Literally, there's absolutely nobody else. And if he is not elected in 2020, you're finished. Not only you, the whole of Western Christian civilization is down the chute, down the drain. And don't take my word for it. It will happen if he's not elected. What do you think?
You know, the one thing that I just don't understand why people seem to think that these polls, all these polls, oh, Trump is down in the polls. Didn't we do this with Hillary, gentlemen?
You're absolutely right, and Jiggy, and I really feel. I was talking to somebody who does polls, and she said to me, I guess it was Monday, that they can't trust the polls anymore. They can't have a black person doing a telephone poll because people don't give black questionnaires correct answers. And the other feeling they have is that conservatives are being shouted down, no matter where they are, so they keep their mouth shut. You know, we've reached a point where when we go to, I don't care where the gathering is, we don't say anything till we learn how other people feel, because otherwise, the liberals, oh my God, what a terrible person you are. Rather than, you know, I mean, I well may be, but it ain't because I'm conservative. You know, it's a sad thing. I do believe President Trump is stronger than the polls. I think he's going to have an uphill fight, but I'd like to jump a little bit, if I may, Jiggy. And,
go ahead.
I don't know if you're familiar with this New York Times editor who quit with a letter that she lambasted. She's in the opinion group at the Times, and she said that she had a great line. She said the new editor of the New York Times is Twitter. That was her, because she said they simply are not really trying to understand the pulse of the people out there, that they're in their own. I mean, the letter, if you go online and read it, it is absolutely, her name is Mary Weiss, and you've got to go on and read the letter. It is an unbelievable letter that she sent to the president of the New York Times. And what she said in there is that the Times is simply not understanding what's happening in this world, and its people have become too ingrown. It's a devastating letter, and it's what's happening out there. and we have to worry because they are the media, and I don't. The only reason I think President Trump will lose is because for 4 years, if he's done everything right, the media has done everything in its power to say he's wrong. It is what president in the last 50 years has delivered on every campaign promise?
Nobody.
Nobody but
Nobody.
President Trump.
By the way, I know about this young lady, woman. I read the article, and you're absolutely right. It's devastating against Sulzberger. Devastating. But she only said what you and I should know, that it is a corrupt newspaper, completely and utterly corrupt. There's nothing to add to it, really. By the way, James, I'm so glad they are thinking that Biden is 15 points ahead. And God willing, they will continue until the last day. Are you with me?
I couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah.
And
Are you with me? Because the last day will decide whether he was 15 points ahead or not. We'll find out.
Look up. Hillary Clinton was figuring her fireworks display.
See, this
no,
is the thing, man.
She only canceled it 2 days before the election. You're aware they had barges in the Hudson River that they were going to have a fireworks display
Yes.
when she was elected. But you know, but what worries me as a journalist is when you have, to use IQ's words, a corrupt news a world, which we have at the moment. We face a real chance of losing our democracy, because I do believe that a free press creates a free democracy, and I only have to point out to you Hong Kong. The minute they lost the media, the minute the Chinese government understood that the media was not going to stand in its way, it moved forward. And that's a lesson that hasn't even been brought out. And I love the fact that the New York Times announced after all of this that they're moving their digital group from Hong Kong to Seoul. I mean, I mean, you know, but I just want to, if I may, one more comment.
Yes.
There's a Star Ledger columnist, John Mulville, who had a great line. He said he used to admire politicians until he got to cover them. And I think this has demonstrated that this generation of leaders is as spineless as they come.
Well, as we wrap up here, I guess we'll start with IQ. IQ, how do we find you online and get all your stuff and everything, my friend?
Okay, I have a trilogy of books called Lifting the Veil, The True Faces of Muhammad and Islam. And you don't have to buy them. I'm not selling. The most important is Google my name, Al Rassooli, ALRASSOOLI, where you have everything you want to know, not only about Islam, by the way. I publish on every single subject under the sun. In America Out Loud. If you Google America Out Loud, you will find me on their blog. God bless you and have a good evening.
Definitely. Now, Don, before we let you go, what's the latest with you, my friend? I know you're down there in Jacksonville and everything.
I just want to point out that when all this rioting came out, it was all here in front of where I'm staying, and they put out 72 police cars and a tank. And you know,
Wow.
The demonstrations were orderly. 72 police cars. We counted them. Okay, so I merely point out that if you stand up and demand that people respect the law, you will end up maintaining the law. The National Robotics Education Foundation, the -NREF, 2SB Digest, hashtag 2SB Digest. That's a place for everything. And that's all I can say. Great show, Jiggy, and I love your guest.
Oh yeah, it was fun today, and I am so glad that we got to see the day where Don Mazzella was called a liberal. That's probably my favorite part of the show today. So, gentlemen, I will talk to you soon. Thank you, gentlemen. There they go, Don Mazzella and IQ Al Rizzoli, and that wraps it up.